Hello and welcome to the Dining and Drink Guide as experienced on our recent trip aboard the Regent Seven Seas Voyager. So let's jump right into the dining guide with one particular caveat. This is my opinion and my opinion only on both the food and the drink. Your opinions and your experiences may be quite different from mine. And whether you agree or disagree with me, I welcome your comments, opinions, and criticisms. Just let us know. In other words, your mileage may vary. There are 8 distinctly different dining venues aboard the Voyager: the Compass Rose, the Coffee Connection, Prime 7, Chartreuse, the Pool Grill, La Veranda, the Italian eatery Settimari, and, of course, room service, available 24/7. Well, let's get started with what's considered the main dining room aboard the Voyager, and that's the Compass Rose. This elegant venue has seating for about 570 guests and is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The breakfast menu is simple yet complete and offers good choice in what is usually a quiet and not so crowded environment. The menu expands for lunch and still provides a quiet place to dine without crowds. One interesting thing to note is since the last time we dined in Compass Rose for lunch, that in addition to the ever-changing daily menu, Regent is now offering appetizers and entrees from their 3 main specialty restaurants at sea: Chartreuse, Prime 7, and Pacific Rim. This is an interesting and welcome change, especially since our favorite Asian restaurant at sea, Pacific Rim, is not a dining option aboard the Voyager. Compass Rose also features a dessert menu with an abbreviated selection of desserts and a few choices of ice cream. Here are a few selections that we made from our 2 trips to Compass Rose for lunch. We stuck pretty closely to the selections from Pacific Rim since we couldn't get them anywhere else on board, and found these rather light versions of the entrees on the Pacific Rim menu aboard the Explorer class of ships to be as delicious and satisfying as dining at the restaurant itself on those slightly larger ships. Dinner in the Compass Rose runs from 6:30 in the evening to 9 p.m. for the last seating and features a menu with generous selection and several options that make Compass Rose, as Regent refers to it, as the largest specialty restaurant at sea. So named because the right side of the menu features the special and ever-changing selections for the day, while the left side features an always available menu that can be very much customized to your liking, making it akin to a specialty restaurant. On our several trips to Compass Rose, we ordered from both sides of the menu and in general found most selections very well prepared indeed. From the appetizers to the entrees to the desserts, all were well prepared using what seemed to be quality ingredients and very tasty. One particular standout amongst the desserts that was occasionally available was the Grand Marnier souffle. It appeared only twice on the menu as far as I was aware, but every time it showed up, at least I had to have it. This particular voyage was a holiday voyage. There were several special menus for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day. The Christmas Eve menu was entitled Christmas Around Europe, and I settled on this delicious lobster ravioli from Italy and this succulent and delicious German Christmas goose. And for dessert, we had this Christmas-focused Bûche de Noël, or the Christmas Yule log, and this lovely passion fruit curd tartlet, both from France. And as delicious as most of the food was, there were a few letdowns. For example, I ordered a Smithfield pork chop from the always available menu, and I ordered it done medium. To my dismay, what should have been a fine cut of meat was cooked well beyond well done. It was so overcooked that I could hardly drag a knife through it. This was the first time that I ever sent a piece of meat back to the kitchen on a Regent voyage. In short order, the Smithfield pork chop was back, and this time cooked to perfection. A couple of days after the pork chop incident, I ordered lamb chops. Again, they were overcooked. I had ordered them medium rare, and they came out somewhere north of medium. In this case, they were not terribly overdone, as was the pork chop, and they were tasty, so I just grinned and bared it. And while there were other instances somewhere in between those first two examples, this one, toward the end of the voyage, could possibly be the most egregious. They offered a local African specialty, grilled Gemsbok. Gemsbok is a local antelope variety, in this case farm-raised and not hunted. I took the time to Google how to best enjoy Gemsbok filet, which is a rather lean cut of meat, and multiple sources on the internet agreed it should be enjoyed medium rare, which is how I ordered it. As you can guess, it came out rather well done. So much, in fact, that I could hardly drag a knife through it, and once I had sawed off a piece, I could hardly chew it. So once again, I sent this piece of meat back to the kitchen. When it came out this time, it was medium rare. And while this lean piece of meat was still a bit tough, I could still eat it, and it was very tasty. Next up on the list is the Coffee Connection. While not officially designated a restaurant by Regent, you can get a meal there. You can get breakfast, snacks, and even lunch, or possibly what someone might call dinner, if you get in before 6 o'clock closing. Yes, the main reason for the Coffee Connection is coffee and teas, but there are pastries, there are other breakfast items. You can toast up a bagel or bread, and in the afternoon they have more savory items, including bread, cheeses, and cold cuts, as well as a few nice desserts. But again, it's truly all about the coffee. Next up, and located also on Deck 5, midships, moving aft, is one of the two, by reservation only, specialty restaurants, the Steakhouse Prime 7. As with the other specialty restaurant, Chartreuse, there is never an additional upcharge for dining at either specialty restaurant. Normally only open for dinner, Prime 7 serves up dry-aged prime beef, chops, and a smattering of seafood. The menu is definitely steakhouse focused, and each meal, unless you tell them to take it away, starts with a nice bread basket, an amuse-bouche, basically a shot glass full of tomato soup, a good selection of appetizers, including this lovely avocado and tuna poke, and this hunk of pork belly with a seared diver scallop resting atop. If you're a seafood lover, try this well-constructed lump crab cake. Song loves her seafood, so here she is trying the Dover sole, deboned right at the table. Second visit, she tried the applewood smoked salmon with a tamarind whiskey sauce. And while Song stuck with seafood in a steakhouse, I exercised the carnivore in me with a 10-ounce dry-aged prime ribeye on the first visit and an 18-ounce bone-in ribeye on the second visit. Regent makes a point, and it's a good point to make, that all the beef served in Prime 7 is USDA Prime Black Angus beef that has been aged for a minimum of 40 days. The result, of course, is delicious beef, perfectly prepared by Prime 7. And if you have room after downing one of those steaks, Prime 7 has a small but delicious choice of desserts that is always preceded by a sampling of rich fudge. For one evening, my choice was this beautifully done key lime pie, and on the second evening, I tried the Rocky Road bread pudding. And on each of our 2 trips to Prime 7, we left a little happier and a little heavier from this, in my opinion, 5-star restaurant. Next up is the second specialty restaurant, Chartreuse, that requires a reservation. Chartreuse is what Regent calls a modern French bistro-type restaurant, serving fine French cuisine. Located on Deck 5, aft, next to the Horizon Lounge, Chartreuse is an elegant space with a seating capacity of somewhere around 50. The cuisine is modern French, and we had 2 meals there, with one reservation being made online and the other being made while on the ship. The menu is very French in nature and has enough variety where you could go back to Chartreuse 2 or 3 times, even though the menu does not change, and enjoy a different mealtime experience each time you go. Each evening in every restaurant there is a featured wine or 2. This one that I found quite nice is from the complimentary wine list that you see pictured here. If you want to peruse it, hit pause, and resolution allowing, you can take a look. And while featured in Chartreuse, it can be had anywhere on the ship. You are, of course, welcome to splurge out on a bottle of wine from their extensive wine cellar for an additional charge. As mentioned, we scored 2 reservations at Chartreuse, which allowed us to sample several of the menu items, such as this terrine foie gras and this interesting take on escargot, an absolutely beautiful beef tartare with caviar, and this smoked salmon, all from the appetizer menu. Entrees for her included this unique take on lobster tail, topped with a scallop mousse, and this well-done fillet of halibut with braised fennel and a lemon artichoke tapenade. While I had this beautiful beef tenderloin rossini, perfectly cooked and topped with a chunk of foie gras. I also had this dish called Chicken Supreme. As it turned out, it was rather tasteless and a bit dry, and had to be scored as the one miss among the other well-done dishes. I also opted for this short order of a vegetarian entree, baked white asparagus with morel cream, and found it interesting. With dinner finished, it was time for desserts, and at the end of the meal on each of our 2 visits, we were brought these rather good truffles and offered the dessert menu. On our first turn at Chartreuse, Song chose Bavarian cream with berries, very good, while I opted for an apple tart with berries and vanilla ice cream, also very good. On our second turn at Chartreuse, Song chose Floating Islands. While interesting and beautiful to look at, this dessert was rather tasteless. As for me on this outing, I chose the creme brulee with vanilla ice cream, a beautiful and tasty dessert. Overall, both of our visits to Chartreuse were worthwhile visits, and while other lines have an upcharge for their French restaurants, Regent does not. So a visit to any of Regent's specialty restaurants is always a win. Next up is the dining venue, La Veranda. La Veranda is the breakfast and lunch buffet option aboard the Voyager, and for breakfast it is open from 7:30 to 9. Located on Deck 11 aft, La Veranda, so named because there is a veranda for al fresco seating. The breakfast buffet line never changed, as far as I could tell. There were specialty stations where you could get a minute steak or an omelet catered to your taste, and while the buffet line never changed, some of the items around it, as in the cold options, sometimes did change up a bit. If we were to look at what we each ate, you can see here I ate a very healthy breakfast, while she seemed to graze on the nuts and the fruits, fresh squeezed grapefruit juice, and yes, you have to ask for fresh squeezed, and some premium yogurt, which the staff started hiding as they started running lower and lower and tried to peddle the other stuff. Lunch at La Veranda was a different story and had a seemingly endless, or at least a very good, variety of foods served every day. For lunch, you could always start with a fresh salad with lots of accoutrements. There was always various seafood to be had, and even occasionally sushi was available, along with everything from pickled herring to smoked trout. Various custom salads were also had for the asking from the friendly servers. On the hot side, there was always rice and some form of potato, along with various dishes, sometimes, like this paella, as part of a themed lunch. The variety of available dishes changed daily and were usually, but not always, well suited to surviving the buffet environment. They even had Asian Day on the buffet, and while a good try, it was a miss from our perspective. An Indian Day that was more successful, a seafood-focused day, and even a very well-done African buffet day. Every day there was a pasta station featuring a different bit of pasta, or you could go up there and roll your own just by telling them what you wanted. There was always minute steak, chicken, sausage, and grilled vegetables available for the asking. There was a carving station that changed daily, from roast chicken that was moist and succulent to a very nice Black Angus beef tenderloin, Christmas ham, and even Chinese ribs one day. Plenty of sandwiches or cold cuts where you could assemble your own sandwich. And there was also a pizza station. Unfortunately, the pizza was rather lackluster, cardboardy, and tasteless, at least from the perspective of the 3 separate times that I gave it a try. We always ended up starting with a salad, for which there was plenty of variety available, before moving on to some seafood for her. And a sampling of the buffet delights for me. And yes, before you chastise me, I did eat my fruits and vegetables as well. We both enjoyed ordering the sausage occasionally, which came to the table nicely grilled and oozing cheddar cheese from its innards. They also had a large selections of dessert at the buffet, including this nicely done Napoleon and this beautiful black forest cake, this white chocolate pudding, whatever this is, and an endless variety of cakes and other desserts to keep us fat and happy. Now in the evening, half of La Veranda closes down and morphs into Settimari. Settimari is an a la carte Italian eatery with open seating, no reservations needed, and a nice sit-down Italian-focused menu. The menu changes very little every 3 or 4 days, and then it's back to the one before it, but there is enough variety there to keep you coming back again and again. The complimentary wines are Italian-focused, although you can order up anything from the Always Included wine list or order from the Connoisseur's wine list for an upcharge. Every meal starts with bread being offered in this light antipasto selection, but uniquely, you are then invited to visit the salad bar and the antipasto/appetizer bar, which, if you're not careful, can morph into a complete meal. We went back to Sette Mare 5 times over the length of our 25-day voyage, and each time, while similar, there were always different items on the appetizer buffet. Sette Mare also features freshly made pasta, like this lovely spaghetti carbonara, and this luscious, pillowy, soft gnocchi. For entrees, some of the standouts for her were the cioppino, or the classic seafood stew, or this beautiful dish of monkfish medallions and black mussels swimming in a saffron broth. I kept it simple one night with a lasagna, and we both enjoyed the fabulous veal ossobuco on top a saffron risotto. I also enjoyed a lamb ossobuco in an olive verde sauce on top of creamy polenta. In fact, we had no bad entrees at Sette Mare and enjoyed every meal there immensely. Dessert at Sette Mare can be ordered from the menu and your waiter will bring it to you, or those same desserts can be had at the dessert buffet. And these are the self-same desserts that your waiter will bring to you. Or you can just opt for a nice little glass of limoncello. Last on the list of restaurants is the Pool Grill. The Pool Grill is open for breakfast with kind of a light continental style breakfast that Regent calls its fitness breakfast. Lunch is from 11 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon and features a buffet of sorts with a salad bar, bread and condiment station, a light selection of sandwiches, and occasionally a specialty day where they have a buffet of different things. Here is a Indian rice dish and a few Indian-style meat selections. They also have very good grilled steaks, chops, hot dogs, and hamburgers that you can either pick up at the buffet or order from the menu. The benefit of ordering from the menu is that all of those food items are made to order, and the menu has a better selection than what you will find on the buffet most times. One of the standouts on the menu is the spicy buffalo wings. I tried a hot dog one time, and while the dog was good, the bun in which it nestled was, well, let's just say underwhelming, and likely sat way too long under a heat lamp. Lastly, although strictly speaking not really a restaurant, is room service. And on a Regent cruise, room service is available 24/7 at no additional charge. Your room will have a few of the easy door hanger type breakfast things where you order the night before and it will be delivered in your room as specified. We never exercised room service, so we cannot testify as to the quality of the food, but it is there if and when you need it. One of the major inclusions with Regent is there is no such thing as a drink package. Wine, beer, and fine spirits are all included. And as soon as you enter your room, you're given a complimentary bottle of champagne and the option to customize your minibar in any way you want. And that includes a bottle of your favorite spirits, if that's what you would like to have. And of course, if it's on the included list. But what about those other areas around the ship that you can enjoy a specialty coffee or a libation or two? Well, they are spread across the ship, and there are 7 of them, 8 if you count your own room, and even more if you count every restaurant on board. So here's the drink guide for the Regent Seven Seas Voyager. Let's start on Deck 4 with the Voyager Lounge. This small, intimate venue is home to drinks and entertainment, and sometimes special events starting at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and going until late. Beside those well-crafted drinks, there was usually entertainment in the Voyager Lounge, including the Sound Flick duo providing pop songs and dance music. Now, the other form of entertainment usually found at the Voyager Lounge was, karaoke. Regardless, the Voyager Lounge was a great place to get a before or after dinner drink or indulge in a little self-humiliation with the karaoke. Haven for the smokers on board, as well as the connoisseurs of fine liquors. It's here that you can grab yourself a stogie for an additional charge, and then head up to the liquor cabinet where you can get your Louis XIII for only $250 to $300 per ounce. Just above the connoisseur's corner on Deck 5 is the coffee connection. This is the hot spot for all your specialty coffees, teas, and light bites throughout the day. Open from 6 in the morning till 6 in the evening. The Coffee Connection in craft specialty coffees and teas, and even a few coffees like Irish coffee or French coffee that include a shot of booze. It can get quite busy in the Coffee Connection, and there are 2 deluxe coffee machines right there for your own use, where you can dial up your own cappuccino at the press of a button. It's also the perfect spot to wait for your upcoming appointment with a cruise consultant or fill out that survey at the end of your cruise while enjoying a little coffee art. Also on Deck 5 is the Horizon Lounge at the very aft end of the ship. The Horizon Lounge is a full-service bar serving drinks and entertainment from 12 noon till 12 midnight. During the day, it serves as the spot for that afternoon international tea. With your tea and treats, there is generally a Regent musician there, generally the piano player or guitar player, to serenade you. We'll say this about afternoon tea: some of it was very good, some of it was not so good, but it was always an entertaining space. Good things were the scones, freshly made every day and served with clotted cream and preserves. In the evening, the bar came alive with an extensive bar menu and talented bartenders that could make virtually anything you asked for. Usually the evening's entertainment was musicians from the Regent Signature Orchestra. Here we have a little Christmas music going on, to sadly what turned out to be a virtually empty room. At other times, the full group provided dance music for those willing to get out and shake that thing. Next up, and moving to Deck 11, is the Observation Lounge at the front of the ship. Open from 12 in the afternoon till 12 midnight or later, the Observation Lounge was a great place for drinks and canapes, or for watching those sail-ins and sail-outs. The Observation Lounge quickly became one of our favorite spots for socializing in the evenings and before or after dinner drinks. Interestingly, because the lounge is at the top of the ship, it had to be blacked out while the ship was in pirate territory. The lounge features entertainment in the evenings, usually from the so-called cocktail pianist. Otherwise, entertainment was Bartender Eric. last of the proper bars is the pool bar, located also on Deck 11, midship. The pool bar is open from 10 in the morning until 8 at night. Here Asta serving up a top shelf margarita and a Midori margarita. This was also our favorite spot for our favorite fufu drink, a bananas and Bailey colada. There, of course, are other places on board the ship where you can get your drink on. Those include any restaurant, the casino, the theater, and, of course, your own room should you decide to have a drink there and perhaps watch a movie. I think the drink service aboard the Regent Voyager was quite good. The complimentary wine list seemed to be fairly complete and have a few standouts on the list. There was also a very good included bourbon stock, including Wild Turkey 101, Woodford Reserve, Eagle Rare, Buffalo Trace, and even a decent rye whiskey from Jack Daniel's. Other notable inclusions included Absolute Vodka and Patron Tequila. So my final thoughts on the food and beverage service aboard the RSSC Voyager are this. Overall, the food was very good and of good quality. There were, in my opinion, a couple of issues. One is that in the Compass Rose, you couldn't order a piece of meat to your desired temperature and expect to have it come out that way. As mentioned, I ended up sending back dishes twice, and I was told by my wife that many of her fish dishes were slightly overcooked. Now, some of this you can chalk up to personal preferences that weren't met, or perhaps there's a little bit of a quality control issue in the kitchen. The other thing that bothered me just a little bit was the food tended to be, across all restaurants, a bit under-seasoned, and I found myself reaching for the salt and pepper more than I ever have on a cruise. Now, believe me, I understand that that just might be my personal taste, and this is certainly not the worst problem to have, such as over-seasoning, but I have seldom been in a situation where my palate disagrees so much with the chef's palate. If you've had the same or different experience aboard this Voyager, I would appreciate you letting me know in the comments. Well, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to be kept up to date with new videos as they drop. Check out my website, tomsmultiinterest.com, and stay tuned for more. In the upcoming weeks, I will be posting a ship and suite tour, as well as an entertainment guide and the pros and cons of this particular voyage, as well as a multi-part series on the trip itself. Once again, thank you for watching. Please check out some of our other videos. And as always, safe and happy travels from T's Cruise and Travel Muse.